Well, wanted to thank everybody who's attending today for joining the EverWash Rocket webinar series. This is the first webinar that we're doing as part of this series to help our wash partners and really any car wash operator out there rocket their revenues through the power of membership. Through each of these webinars, we're going to cover a different aspect of what makes up a Rockstar membership program. Today, we're focusing on how to boost your membership sales. And we have a bunch of special guests here to help walk us through that process. Also wanted to mention a couple things before we get started. First and foremost, for everyone who is in attendance, we will be raffling off a Yeti cooler at the end of the call. So stick around and we will be picking one attendee at random for whoever's left at the end of the call to receive that Yeti cooler. We're really excited to raffle that one off. As I mentioned at the beginning, we also will be taking a Q&A at the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions, use Zoom's chat function to put those questions through, and we will attack them one after the other once we are finished with the presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started. So like I mentioned, I am Max Pulcini. I'm the Director of Marketing here at EverWash, and we are presenting the EverWash Rocket webinar series today, Boost Your Membership Sales. We have a couple special guests from the EverWash team here to help kick off this call. And we're going to start with a special address from our co-founder and CEO, Scott Kaplan. So Scott, why don't you introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your story, about the EverWash story, and why membership matters.
Thank you, Max. Happy to be here. Appreciate everybody hopping on the call today. As I see a lot of familiar names on the list here, so nice to see everybody. As you may or may not know, my background and a few of us here, our backgrounds from the fitness industry. We went through a very similar transition back in the early 90s, where we went from a single pay feature to a membership option, made our business transformable and really changed everything in that business. And I talk about this all the time. We started at zero every day in the gym business before we had membership, and it was a very scary way to operate the business. Once we changed the membership, gave stability and really could project out your revenue, really nicely, really very similar to the car wash business. Actually, the gym business and the car wash business to us is the same. It's high fixed cost, low variable. And, everybody knows that LTV on membership is much greater than a single use customer. And again, our whole business model is helping wash owners with that transition to a membership car wash. And, again, the stability, the revenue growth, the optimized valuation, and certainly at the end of the day, the quality of life, knowing that you can count on that recurring revenue stream is really what is life-changing here. So really thanks everybody for being on the call. Really appreciate all the, the relationships and partnerships that we've built over the years that we've been in the industry, and looking forward to continuing the conversation. Thanks, Max.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. So, that was just a little address by our fearless leader, Scott Kaplan. But I really want to introduce the special guests of today's conversation. And that's Sean Pashley, EverWash's Vice President of Partner Success, and Mike Christie, EverWash's Vice President of Membership Growth. These are two experienced gentlemen who have been working in around the car wash space for quite some time now, and they're going to be leading the discussion today. But before we get into the discussion, I wanted to start with a little bit of a poll. We've introduced ourselves. Now I want you guys to introduce yourselves to us a little bit. So I'm going to launch a poll right now in the poll feature of Zoom, and just wanted to get a sense of what kind of a car wash do you operate? full service tunnel, an express tunnel, a multi-lane IBA, a single IBA, maybe a combo IBA self-serve. We'll give you guys some time to fill in the blanks here to answer the question. So that way our team has a better idea of what kind of an operator we're speaking to today. Right now, seeing a lot of express tunnels coming in, full service tunnels. Definitely some IBAs present. A couple IBA self-serve combos. But yeah, it's seeming like it's very tunnel-focused conversation, which quite frankly makes sense. A lot of what we're going to be talking about today relates to attendant sales training. Now, if you're an IBA that has an attendant, certainly a lot of good programming here for you. And we also believe that, regardless of whether you're an IBA or a tunnel, sales attendants are key to membership growth. So great. I'm going to end the poll. Looks like we got a lot of responses in. And I will now kick it over to our speakers. Sean, why don't you get started?
Thanks, Max. I appreciate that. So hello, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. What are you going to get and what can you anticipate in today's webinar? Well, most importantly, how to sell more memberships, right? How to keep your members longer, how to just wrap your arms around this program and selling at a high level and keeping those members longer. We're going to have a great post-webinar email with attachments and useful information that we'll get into along the way here. And of course, there's a Q&A session. Look, if you're not going to be around maybe, or you've got to go, put your question into the chat, as Max said. And if you're not around by the time the end comes and we answer questions, we'll definitely reach out to you to answer your questions for you, okay?
Great.
Let's get started.
All right.
So the EverWash success story, it's a passion of mine. 8 years ago, Scott Kaplan had a unique vision. He and his partner, both, as he said, from the gym industry, knew there was a better, more profitable, more seamless, and more customer-centric way to wash cars. Together, they created the first done-for-you membership platform in the car wash industry. By letting you wash partners focus on what you do best, which is running great washes, EverWash could provide an all-in-one membership platform for wash owners and your customers. All these years later, membership is now ubiquitous, right? And EverWash is more than just a software solution. We are your dedicated partner, here to ensure your success for the weeks, months, and years to come post-implementation. These strategies we're discussing today are foundational. They're culture building and will help you set the stage for your ongoing success with EverWash. Now, I'd like to take a minute to talk about a success story. And this is a large part about why I'm so passionate about membership and EverWash. I want to tell you about a friend, wash partner, Gerard. Gerard had 2 car washes in Louisiana between New Orleans and Lafayette on the same side of a highway, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles apart. He had competitors come in between the 2 washes and on either side. But we knew they were coming. We had time in the year before to plan and to insulate him from that competition. So what we did was got each of his car washes up to about 500 members. That insulated him, and he never lost that membership. He was able to maintain about 500 at each location while some of the best competitors in the country came to compete. So one day, I get a call from Gerard, and I could tell he was a little bit choked up, and I knew his wife had been under the weather. And I said, "Hey, is Mary okay? Is the family okay?" And he said, "Yeah, Sean." He said, "I just wanted to tell you that I'm retiring today." He said, "Because of you and EverWash and this base of members I had, I was able to get double valuation, and I'm retiring. I sold the washes." So he had just had a valuation done, a year or 2 before, and because of that, he was able to sell the washes and retire and spend time with his family. The bottom line is that successful membership can change your business and your life. In this case, Gerard was able to alleviate the pressure from his competition while creating predictable cash flow. It doubles valuation, and he got to do what he wanted to do, which was spend more time with his grandchildren. Safe to say, by the end of that call, he wasn't the only one that was choked up. But that's just one of the stories I could tell you if you had more time. And there's some operators here that I see that I've already become friends with, and I know we'll share similar stories going forward.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that story, Sean. And while we're on the topic of operator success, I wanted to pose another question to our audience here. I'm going to launch another poll. The question is your membership program currently successful? Yes, it's very successful. Yes, but it could be better. No, we're struggling. Or no, I don't offer membership at this time. Be honest. Let us know where you're at so we can provide you with more assistance moving forward. It's always okay to say that you think you could be doing better. We'll give it a couple more seconds here to let some answers trickle in. Right now, looking like the common answer, the 70% of our audience here is saying yes, we offer membership, but we could be doing it better. So I think we're gonna have some great ideas here for all of you today. Give it a couple more seconds. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll and share the results. So yeah, it looks like 69% are saying yes, we offer it, but we could be doing better. 13% are really happy. Yes, we're very successful. 8% say they're struggling, and 10% don't even offer membership yet at this time. So we have a good audience for this conversation. With that being said, we'll go to our next slide. Mike, Chris, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, thanks, Max. Really happy to be part of this program. As Max said, I'm the VP of Membership Growth here at EverWash. My job is to help our wash partners grow and retain their membership business. And I just want to spend a few minutes talking about how membership changes lives. Now, I was an operator in Connecticut for 15 years. Bought my first car wash in 2004. It was a full service machine wash that I converted to a hand wash. And we also did 20-minute express detail as well as full detail work. Now, my minimum crew at the time consisted of 11 full-time workers. And regardless of the weather, I was carrying a pretty good sized payroll at that, because these were my main people that had to come to work every day regardless of the weather. And this was before the days of membership. So I relied almost entirely on the traffic count from the road and good weather to wash cars and to make money. Now, for the first 7 years that I was in business, I'd wake up every morning, I'd check the weather forecast and ask myself what was I thinking when I decided to get into the car wash business? To be quite frank with you, it was a struggle to stay ahead of the expenses. And just when I thought I'd built up a nice cushion of cash, we get a long stretch of on and off rainy days that lasted seemingly for weeks. Now, in 2011, I decided to create my own unlimited membership plan. My customers took to it right away because no other washes in my area offered membership at the time. So I quickly built a solid base of loyal members. Now, for me, membership did three things that really changed my life. The first thing is that it provided financial security through the recurring monthly income. I always had a nice reserve of cash on hand to pay the bills, so I didn't worry about that anymore. It also brought my stress level way down. Even though weather was still important, it didn't ruin my day by thinking how I was going to make up for a lost day or two due to the weather. And the third thing is it gave me more freedom. The extra money that I was making from membership allowed me to add to my management team. So I didn't have to be at the wash, supervising and training all the time. I was able to add to my staff and bring in more team members to help me do it. Now, of these three things, the one that I think operators focus on the most is how much more money they can make from membership. And it really doesn't matter whether you're just starting out with membership or you've been selling membership for years. Really, the secret to making more money with membership is what I call the rule of three. So here's what the rule of three says. Add 3 net new members per day, and you'll build a very successful membership program, and you'll make a lot of money. So here's how the math works. Let's assume for this discussion that you have an average package price of $29 per membership. That would be your average. And that you're starting from 0 members, nothing on the books yet. Now, month 1, you add 3 net new memberships per day for a total of 90 members at an average of $29 per membership. That equals $2,610 in revenue for that first month. Month 2, you add 90 net new members at an average of $29 a membership for a total of 180 members. That equals $5,220 in revenue for the month. Month 3, you add 90 net new members at an average of $29 per membership for a total of 270 members. That equals $7,830 in revenue for the month. So you get the idea here. After your first full year of adding just 3 net new memberships per day at an average price of $29 a membership, you should have 1,080 members producing monthly cash flow of $31,320 in that first year. And that's from 0 members. All right, that's starting from nothing. After your second year, you should have 2,160 members producing monthly cash flow of $62,640. And after your third year, you should have 3,240 members producing monthly cash flow of $93,960, all from adding just 3 net new members per day. So just think about how monthly cash flow like this can really change your life. Next slide, please, Max.
Got it. Before we get started on the next slide, I just want to ask that if every participant could just mute yourselves. We were getting a little bit of what sounded like mechanical feedback for the last couple slides. Sounds a little bit better now. So just want to make sure everyone is muted aside from the presenters today. Thank you for your help and cooperation. Here's your next slide, Mike.
So as I said, membership really changed everything for me. It literally flipped the script for operating my car wash almost overnight. Now, before membership, my business was 100% dependent on the weather and the road. But after membership, weather was still a factor, but I didn't worry about it because I had money coming in every month to cover my bills. Before membership, my daily focus was all about surviving. After membership, my focus shifted from surviving to expanding the business with more washes. And I hear this from operators every day now, talking about, how do I get, more of these? How do I get more members? Now, before membership, there were very few offers from operators and investors to buy my car wash. After membership, I had a number of serious investors approach me with very attractive offers to buy. And I did eventually sell to a group in 2017 for a lot more money than I thought, I was going to get. Next slide, Max. So I look at membership as the operator's golden ticket. Why is that? Well, simply put, membership is freedom, pure and simple. Freedom to do whatever you want. You want to expand your operation by adding more locations? Membership will help you do that. You want to create a retirement lifestyle that is on your terms? Membership will help you do that. You want to sell your business for more money than you thought possible, like I did? Membership will help you do that. And you want to build a business that can provide wealth and opportunity for future generations? Membership will help you do that. So here's the truth. Building a solid membership business is more than just creating recurring monthly income. It's about creating a better life for you, for your family, and for your employees. And now we're going to basically show you how to take your membership business to the next level. Max?
Great. Yeah. Well, before we hop into that, I'm gonna actually see who's been listening. We're gonna play a little bit of trivia. I'm gonna put a trivia question through the chat, and the first person who answers correctly in the chat will actually win a Bluetooth speaker from us. So the question is, if you were to add 3 net new members per day with an average ticket of $29 per month over 1 year, what is your expected monthly revenue going to be? So there is the, all right. Looks like we had Chris Moeller was the first one with the right answer. The answer is $31,000 per month. So Chris, we're going to save your contact info and we'll reach out to you after the meeting to figure out when we can ship you that Bluetooth speaker. But looking like we got a lot of correct answers here. So glad everyone's been listening. So that's great stuff. Now we're going to kick it over to the second half of the presentation, kicking it back over to Sean to talk about recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining. Sean, take it over.
Thank you, Max. I'm sure we can all agree that in 2024, membership is the key to financial success, right? And I'd argue that if you don't have a talented, trained, and motivated sales professional, that you're not in the membership game at all, that you're not selling membership in essence. So we are going to today teach you and provide you with some tools to help you recruit, hire, train, and retain rockstar salespeople. It comes natural to me, but it wasn't always that way, right? I had natural ability to do it myself, but I had to learn the EverWash way to do it, and we're going to talk about some of those ways today. I want to ask Mike, who was the most important person on your car wash properties?
That's easy. It was my greeter or my team of greeters. These are the people that greeted every car that came in. Those cars were barcoded, so when they scanned that car, they could see, who they were, and they would look at the car, they would assess it, and they would make recommendations on what the customer should look at from the standpoint of an upsell. So from the basic wash, we had quite a few upsell opportunities. The best of which would be our detail services, but by far, my salespeople were my most valuable people, on the property.
Great. And that's just to drive home the importance of what we're going to talk about today and why we're going to talk specifically about recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining this salesperson, right? You need to recruit people with sales experience or people with amazing personalities that you can teach the pitch to, right? It's really looking for a sales persona during the hiring process and having a hiring process, right? We know that selling is so important, why don't we do it at the car wash a lot of times? Why? Because it's not essential to washing cars, right? It's an added challenge. And we want to teach you some ways to get around some of those challenges. Let's go to the next slide, please, Max. So recruiting, right? Don't try to go too far, draw out too far outside the lines, right? Exceptions are rare, like hiring somebody who's an introvert and having them work out, that's going to be really rare, right? If we hire for the traits that we know make someone successful, we can teach them the nuts and bolts, right? But it comes down to putting in work, right? You've got to put in work every day. I think you need to put in at least an hour of work every day into finding where you're going to go. Sort of the days of, putting signs up at the car wash or a sign on the marquee that you're hiring, they're over. It takes work and thoughtfulness every day. It takes networking, right? You've got to talk to everyone, especially in your local area, locally recruiting. I've always used in my career things like hiring cards. Maybe they're a business card with a free car wash on them, or hey, I like your smile card, or hey, you did a great job. Anytime I'm in my local area, I'm at a restaurant, I have a great experience, I give one of those cards to the server or the bartender, say, hey, if you know anybody that has similar amazing talents to you, can you send them my way? Everyone in your area should know that you're a great place to work, I'm sure you're paying well, and we're going to talk some about that compensation. But everyone should know that you're looking for great people, and hopefully your former employees are people who can also tout how great the place is. But putting in the work, networking, especially local, making sure everyone knows that you're always hiring great people is really the nuts and bolts of recruiting great people. Next slide, please, Max. So when we talk about recruiting, it's not always easy to swallow, but we want to make this something, perhaps, a career type situation. Paying your people at least $15 per hour with $10 per membership and a well-documented bonus structure. So now we're talking about a blend of immediacy in payment, goals to reach to, and fairness, right? This should be a career for someone. This should be something where they're looking for immediate, hey, I want to get paid now. I want to get paid going forward. They have goals that they're looking for. Really finding people that are already successful in this realm. People who are working in mobile, like T-Mobile and cellular, bartenders and servers, Best Buy salespeople, anybody that's in a job where they have sales goals. Even some of these supermarkets, get people to sign up for their club or whatever. Some people have great success with that. And that's really who we're looking for. We're looking to set up a really good compensation that we went through the numbers. The numbers are there, right? Just extend them out. Let's go to our next slide, please, Max. So when we talk about selecting and hiring, you have to have a game plan, all right? We really want to ask the right questions, and the answer to the question isn't always the most important thing, right? Observing and probing in deeper to the body language and the way people respond is what's most important. If you feel like someone's trying to elude a question or, hide something, really watch as you're listening to the answer to see where their body language, where their eyes are going, and how much you're paying attention. They should want this, right? We're going to pay them well. You're going to treat them well. And this should be something that they really want. So have a plan going in, right? Hey, I'm going to dedicate time to sit down with this person. Maybe there's a coffee shop next door where you can get away from some of the noise and the background, having a good plan, having questions. And as you become better at interviewing and asking these right questions, remembering those questions and saving them for later. We're going to include some great interview questions in our post-webinar email. So you will have some tools to help there. So also mock interviewing, if you're not great at interviewing or you don't have a lot of experience, and some of us, admittedly, our interviews in the past have been like, are you wearing clothes and do you have a heartbeat? You think you can drive a car? Awesome, right? That's not the position we're looking for now. We're looking for someone with a little more skill, and we're going to pay for that. Next slide, please, Max. So when you're interviewing someone, I really love the 80-20 rule. Especially if you prepared yourself well, you've got good questions, the persona that you're looking for and the traits that you're looking for. And when I do this, I like to think back to my best employees. What was the best thing about Timmy? What was the best thing about Kim? What was the best thing about Ron? And taking those things and saying, hey, these are the attributes that I like. These are the attributes that don't work out so well, right? So you're not only asking questions to get to the right answers, you're asking questions to get to the wrong answers. Hey, how do you respond when you have a stressful day and I'm going to ask you to do something, those sorts of things. But the 80-20 rules, when interviewing, aim for your candidate to do 80% of the talking and for you to fill the remaining 20. Really, if they can't fill 80% of the time selling themselves, they're probably not the right candidate for this position, right? And we're looking, again, if we were looking for someone to drive the car, they really don't have to answer that many questions, right? Show me wax on and wax off, right? But initiate discussions by briefly outlining the role and the background of your car wash. Be careful not to get into unnecessary details. There's also a lot of legality to the questions you can ask people. If you search online, you're going to find things you don't want to ask about personal things and religion and this and that. And do you plan on having a family? So, do prepare yourself by knowing the right and wrong questions to ask. And again, we're going to have some awesome examples that we'll include.
Awesome. Before we continue on, another poll question for the audience here. I'm going to ask, put it through here, launch the poll. It's not letting me launch it. Oh, here we go. I gotta stop the last one. That would help. All right. So the next question is, how do you normally interview a candidate for your wash? The responses are in person, over the phone, virtually. Maybe you don't typically do an interview process, or maybe it's some combination of the options above. Overwhelmingly, right now, it's looking like it's in-person interviews. Um, Combination of the options is the next highest one. Virtually rounds it out in third place. Nobody is doing over the phone interviews, and I think this is a good thing, Sean. Nobody is doing no interviews either. So good to hear that we have some processes in place.
That is good to hear. And I'll tell you what, Max, I think what's really important is the phone is maybe not a great interview source, but it's a great screening source, right? We're not going to interview everybody that we talk to. Maybe in the beginning we can to hone our skills, but that's great to really pick through some of the best candidates over the phone. And it's great that people are doing in-person interviews. It really benefits you to set up a specific time with this candidate. We want to know that not only, can they be punctual, but hopefully 10 minutes early, right? And then since they're going to give you their time and dedicate their time to you, make sure you have the time dedicated for them and you're not doing the interview in the tunnel. Again, having some place where you can really talk and they don't have to think about people going by or the phone ringing, sort of getting out of that environment. Like I said, a local coffee shop or somewhere, Dunkin' Donuts is a great place to conduct an interview if you don't have a space for that.
Awesome. So I'm going to end that poll and move on to the next slide. Training.
Great training. So this is my favorite part. Mike, I'd like to ask you, who did the training at your car wash? Washes.
Yeah, my manager and my assistant manager did all the training. I trained them initially and told them exactly, what I wanted to have them communicate, to the salespeople. But I really made sure that I had people that were available to train the new greeters when they came in. So yeah, I didn't want them to depend on me for it in case I wasn't there. And also, the manager and the assistant manager on the property, pretty much all the time. And it's not just training one time, as you know, Sean. It's training, retraining, reinforcement. New things come up, new items you want to sell. So it's kind of like, training was a daily thing. So the manager literally was training every day. So that's the people I had doing it.
That's great because, it's not a set it and forget it, right? If we set it and forget it 8 years ago, there wasn't even membership, right? So it comes, we're always learning. The minute that we stop learning, we're no longer advancing our business. So think about it. We go as owners and operators, we go to different shows and we learn new things every day. Is that trickling down to the staff, right? It's about setting an expectation. It's about, what do you want for your car wash? That's where you need to start, your car wash or your car wash group. What do you want to achieve? And then setting your goals from there, right? Like Mike did. His goals changed as he brought in that money for membership to say, now my goal is to train people to be me when I'm not there so I can do more valuable things. So that's great. You should be training your employees to empower them and get buy-in. And then when you get enough staff, you should be training them to be you and live up to your expectations. Take on the role of a leader who not only improves their own skills, but also sparks progress for everyone nearby. Setting goals for your team, delivering that. It's awesome.
Great.
All right. For our part, EverWash has a great training guide, an awesome YouTube library of videos. If you go to youtube.com/EverWash, or you simply go to YouTube and search EverWash, not only are there the foundational videos that are going to teach you how to do what you do, but then there are videos, new content every month. And we're putting on, there's the 45-minute video that teaches you everything from A to Z about membership and selling. Then there's specific pitch videos. And then there's our monthly advanced sales tactics webinars that we then put onto YouTube. We've got some amazing new content coming. We had a really fun week this week, and we've got some amazing new content coming to YouTube as well. And the salesperson training presentation, that's the 45-minute presentation that I mentioned. It's got everything. And if you haven't done it, you should do it so you know the expectations. And these videos that we provide on YouTube, they're the kind of thing you don't need to download anything. You can listen to it while you're driving from the supermarket home, and you can pick up some little things. And that's the kind of training environment you want to set up at your car wash, where you're just walking by someone and saying, hey man, pitch me a car, pitch me a membership, like sell me on a quick detail. These things that EverWash is teaching you, they aren't just for membership. You can utilize them in the other parts of your business. Like Mike said, you know, sell great, have a great membership base, sell many details, and put it all together.
Awesome. Awesome. Before we head to the next section, we have another poll question for the audience. Question is, how many of you already have a standardized training program in place for new hires? Yes, no, sometimes, no, but planning on implementing one. Answers are coming in. Coming in rapidly. Got a lot of responses here. Right now, yes and no are kind of back and forth, you know, for who has one, who doesn't. Yes is now in the lead, 38%. No, 32%. Sometimes 12%. No, but planning on implementing one is at 18%. So nice little kind of split around these answers. And obviously, for those of you who don't have one but are or are maybe planning on implementing one, some of these tools that Sean just mentioned would be of great benefit to you guys. So whether you're already an EverWash partner or looking to explore what that relationship could look like, we certainly have plenty in the realm of training tools and assistance for you all. So,
and one other thing, among the several things that we're including in your post-webinar email is the EverWash training module. There are 3 types of learners. So there's a way that you can train people to make sure that you're hitting each of those 3 styles. We're going to include that, and that's life-changing. The tell, show, do, review model hits all those learning styles. So as you're building your program, keep that in mind. You're going to love that module. It explains things very well. That, along with all these other tools and the interview guide we're going to send, these can really help you build a robust recruiting, selecting, hiring, training, retaining type of situation. And then getting into retaining, you need to have regular meeting cadence, right? Mike, I know that you had a specific daily meeting cadence with your team along with other cadence. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I bought my first wash in 2004, I inherited a crew, you know, of employees, and I needed a way to connect with them. So a block, you know, down the road from my wash was a Dunkin' Donuts. And when we first started out, and I continued this all the way through, I'd stop by the Dunkin' Donuts, you know, pick up an assortment box of, you know, donuts and coffee, and I'd go to the wash. And so for all of the people who are on my management team and my salespeople, you know, we'd meet in the break room in the wash. I'd get them their coffee so they didn't have to pick up coffee on the way in. And they had a box of donuts that they appreciated because a lot of them didn't have time to eat in the morning coming in. And so we just talked about the day. You know, we talked about, you know, what was happening with the weather and what the day was going to look like in terms of car count and the things I wanted them to focus on from, you know, from a sales standpoint. And especially when we got membership, we talked a lot about, you know, how to sell membership, right, for the people that are coming in. But what I noticed when I started doing this was that they came early, right? So rather than, you know, coming in at 1 minute before 8 when we opened, they were there at, you know, 7:40, 7:30, because they knew I would be there with a coffee. And the other thing that it did, which was, you know, you mentioned like, you know, regular meeting and cadence and, you know, becoming part of creating a team atmosphere. What I noticed was anytime I either, you know, brought coffee in, or I brought dinner in, or I brought lunch in, you know, watching my employees eat together and have conversation and relax, over a cup of coffee and conversation. What I noticed was that we were building a solid, team of family, right? So they started to, they started to talk to each other, talk about their personal lives and everything. And then I really started to notice that we were building a very, very strong team. And, I know that we have a lot of operators on this call, but when I bought my wash in 2004, most of the people that I inherited with that acquisition were with me when I sold the wash in 2017. So we very, very rarely saw somebody leave the wash. If we did, it usually was because they were moving out of the area. But I found that to be one of the most important, parts of my management style, in running the wash.
That's great. I think there's a word for that. I think it's culture, right? So you created a culture, and I could bet, we've never talked about it, but I would bet that when you had employees leave, they had other friends and family to recommend oftentimes, right? That's the things that culture can do. That's what investing in your team can do, right? Humans thrive off of challenge. If you think back and you've ever had a job that was way too easy, you didn't put a lot of value in it. Humans don't put a lot of value into achieving things that are too easy, right? So you want to challenge your team. You want to challenge not just your salespeople, right? That's going to be easier, but you want to challenge, maybe you do surveying of your car wash customers and members. You can set goals based on those survey results, your Google rankings and those sorts of things. Set competition and set goals, not just for your salespeople, for the whole team. Hey, I really want to get this to this level, or hey, we're starting to see some reviews sneak up with my car's still a little wet after, or whatever it is, and let's work on those challenges. One thing I'll tell you is that if you only swoop in every once in a while and give constructive criticism to your employees, that only seems like criticism. If you have a regular cadence of setting goals and giving honest feedback, they're more used to that, right? And it's not offensive to them. And there are going to be times we have to have uncomfortable conversations, and they're going to be easier when you have this honest back and forth. You've created a great culture. And you can't build culture when Timmy doesn't have to do anything and Kim and Bob are doing all the work, right? So holding people accountable is a large part of building culture. So setting the individual and team goals and then rewarding those, right? You can't then reward that with Dunkin' Donuts. Not that Dunkin' Donuts become an expectation. So utilize that. Hey guys, we've had a really rough week. We're gonna set these goals, and then next week if we hit the goals, we're gonna do Panera or whatever it is, and make selling fun and make hitting goals fun, right? Everybody humans also want to achieve, so give them ways to achieve. So managing and monitoring. We've talked a lot about goal setting, and setting a goal for yourself and a goal for your wash is the first and most important thing. What do you want your business to be and achieve? Hey, I want to retire at this age, spend time with my family. I want to sell at this time and buy more of this. I want to do this or do that. What are your goals? And then everything else trickles down from your goals. Hopefully your goals are, I want to run an incredible business. I want to make generational wealth, have 26 car washes that I can hand on to my children's. And then that is going to set some pretty lofty goals for you and your team, and it'll trickle down from there. In your post-webinar email, we'll of course include a conversion tracker. When we talk about sales, most of our goals should be based on conversion, right? A rainy day is very different from a sunny day, and that's what we all live on. So we've included the conversion tracker. I include weather on there so that I can look back to last year and say, hey, what was so great about this week? Oh, well, there were a bunch of sunny days in a row after a small snow event. So I really think you should follow that conversion tracker. We want to convert at least 20% of the customers that come in, new customers on a daily basis. And again, celebrate success and retrain the misses. I can't talk about that enough. And then, feedback and updates. Mike, what tools did you use to set goals for your team, and how did you reward them?
As I said, we had that morning meeting every day, and so my goals were, we talk at the beginning of the week. Here's what we want to do. We'd set some numbers. We had a really, I used Micrologic's, as my POS system, and they had a really cool app, so I could see everybody could see on their phone through the app how we were doing. So I set, dollar order based goals, I set detail goals, I set membership goals, and I didn't make them crazy. And typically, when we hit those goals, I would bring in pizza for lunch. If we hit a month, a goal that I set for the month, I'd actually bring in dinner, for the whole crew. At first, it was just the crew, and then, after they got kind of used to that, we went with bringing their whole family in. So, they bring the kids and, everything, and the goal setting was important, and actually the employees, would ask me, like, what's the goal for next month? Like, what are we going to shoot for next month? What are we going to do? And got them, totally bought in to the concept of working, towards targets rather than just coming in. And I found too that, like, money was good, but they kind of valued more the reward system of, time together, bringing in food, maybe going, I would take them, the whole crew, bowling. I'd say, listen, hit this number, we're going, everybody, we're going bowling, right? Bowling was, a really fun thing to do. So yeah, that I thought goal setting was, super, super important. Got everybody to buy in, and they really worked hard towards it. I have to say that, they typically always hit the goal.
That's great. And you celebrated that success with them. I think that's so cool. It becomes more than a job. That's culture, right? So then the kids are like, hey, Dad, how you looking on your goals, right? Last month was fun. I'm really looking for that Chuck E. Cheese party this time around, right? At work. So that's cool. I think that's really fun. Celebrating successes. And again, as importantly, like I always I've said repeatedly, retraining the misses. People need that. There are little boxes in our head that need to be checked. You don't have to dig into Maslow's hierarchy of needs to understand how people value friendship, family, and great food, oftentimes over monetary comfort. So, and then providing consistent feedback and updates. Hey guys, here's where we're at. Here's what we're doing. For me, in my business experience, I wanted to set competition. I wanted there to be healthy competition. Humans thrive on competition. So I wanted competition at my business. And then I wanted to find out everything I could about my surrounding businesses and put them up on the billboard. Hey, this guy's got much better reviews than we have. Let's go after that, right? And you're going to see your team coalesce if you've selected nearly the right people. So feedback and updates are great. And then lastly, Mike, I would imagine that these things we've talked about not only again, I can't express enough, extending out financially, it all works, right? So the money you spend on Dunkin' Donuts, the money on when we hit our monthly goals, financially, that it all works as long as we're getting even close to a decent membership base, right? But I would imagine, Mike, that had some sort of positive impact on turnover as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, we didn't have it. As I said before, most of the people that, I inherited in 2004 were with me when I sold the wash. In fact, we had people that, had to go, back home, and they would cry when they left. They cry, they hug. You mentioned, that, family members. We had, employees come in and say, hey, I really want to bring my my cousin or my brother, my uncle, my father, into the car wash. And so we ended up having, as we expanded, having employees who were all part of the same family. So it was a great place to work. I was really, it was bittersweet when we sold because I was losing, that part of my family. But yeah, it was really important for retention. And I know in talking to a lot of partners now, they're frustrated with, the fact that, people come and go. And I can tell you that retaining your employees is more than about money. If you can create a culture and a feeling of belonging to a family, that's what a lot of people are looking for at work. So it's super important.
Great. Thanks, Mike. So that's it. It is. So the hardest thing we're going to hear is finding those people, right? It comes down to putting in that daily effort, right? 99% of it is finding the people and setting or resetting your expectations for what you want out of your business.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for the the content and the presentation. We're going to get started with the Q&A in just a minute here, but I do want to launch our last poll of the day. And it's a bit of a broad question. Would you be interested in future webinars about strategies to drive new and more traffic to your car wash? We're kind of playing with that as one of our future webinar topics and wanted to get some feedback from you all. Generally speaking, like I said at the top, this is our first webinar in our Rocket webinar series. We plan on doing something kind of like this every 60 to 90 days. Expect this every other month, at least once per quarter. We really want to get in front of you guys, provide you with strategies and know-how and tips and tricks to help you all excel at membership. Because that's really the name of the game here at EverWash, excelling at membership. So looks like overwhelmingly folks would find that subject matter helpful. And with regards to whether you found this helpful, keep your eyes peeled for not only the toolkit that Sean had mentioned, but for also a post-webinar survey. We'd love to collect your feedback on how to make these webinars better and speak more to you, the car wash operator. So send us your feedback, and we definitely look forward to seeing you all again on a future webinar very soon here. So without further ado, we're going to kick it over to the Q&A. I know we had some questions come through the chat. So we'll start with a first come, first serve basis. The first question, and Sean and Mike, I don't know if you guys can scroll to the chat on your own so you can kind of read these over. But the first question came from Bruce. Bruce says, I live in a small town with many auto dealerships. I was approached by one person for three of the related dealerships about providing washes on loaner cars driven by salespeople, etc. Any thoughts on the best way to do this? I was thinking of providing a 3-month subscription for all new used purchases. Any thoughts? We can start there. And honestly, I can chime in on this one. I think that's a great strategy. It's something that we actually encourage all of our operators to do at EverWash. It's something that we go out and try to do on our own as well. The idea of offering a 3-month of membership to anyone who is buying a new car is super strong, right? They're going to want to protect that investment. It's top of mind. So offering them the free month is just a gateway into creating a new habit of washing early and often and protecting that investment. So I totally recommend that. And if you're already an EverWash partner, Bruce, let us know how we can assist. We can create the promo codes to make that easy to deliver and get new members coming in. Bruce, you also asked, what do you recommend as far as the promotion? I'm looking at a $4.99 first month. Again, I can kind of answer this. I think it's a great idea. Having a strong low final price on the first month is another great way to kind of incentivize people to try something out. Sean and Mike, I know you guys also have thoughts, so I don't want to take all the air out of the conversation. What do you all think about Bruce's questions?
I think the first one, I call it car wash insurance, right? You can have we design great rack card says, congratulations on your new purchase. Here's your car wash insurance, a free month of membership. And we've had great results with that. We have a track record of results with that. And as far as a promotion, $4.99 first month is great. There is a balance between the price of the first month and retention. So I think $4.99 and $9.99 are really good first month deals. But I will quickly tell you that if you're selling these, if you have a salesperson doing this, start with what wash would you like and do the sales pitch and then say, hey, but I'm going to take good care of you today and give you your first month for $4.99. Whereas if we go in and say, hey, how you doing? What if I told you I'll give you any one of these washes for $4.99? Of course, they're going to pick the best, most expensive wash. And maybe they're not the most expensive wash type person. And that first full price, charge goes through and then they're canceling. So it's a great idea. Sell it the right way and find that balance of cost that works for you or your customers, I should say.
Great. Thanks, Sean. Another question. It's from Jeff. What is the average comp plan for a salesperson? Sean, I know you kind of mentioned a little bit on, what the average compensation is for a sales attendant. Why don't you kind of go over that again and maybe take it a little bit deeper?
Yeah. So basically doing, it's a combination of paying per sale, obviously, and I'll get into this, but paying per sale, paying per hour, and an overarching goal. Okay. So for instance, I think you need to do at least $15 an hour or find out that competitive hourly rate in your area, right? If the car wash down the road's paying 20 an hour, 15 is not going to do it. If the car wash down the road's paying 10, 15 is absolutely going to do it, right? Right there, right? What do we need to make the hourly? Secondly, per sale, right? Is depending on your area. If you're in a metropolitan area, it has to be $10. I think Mike would say it probably has to be $10 anywhere, right? He was in a sort of, I believe, more rural area. And then lastly, having that overarching bonus, right? And that's based on commission. It's based a conversion rather. It's based on, hey, we saw 500 unique customers this month. Your goal is to convert 20% of them to hit this number, 21, 22, 23, and sort of tiering it is really the best way to go. If you tier that bonus for them, I think they're getting a reward for greater, greatest. And I think that really works out. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Oh, Mike, you're muted, just as an FYI.
Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, now granted, when I started my membership program, membership really didn't exist. So I didn't have to pretty much build the airplane while I was flying it. And so I paid, I paid an hourly wage plus, we were paying commission based on, the membership. And I would set bonuses actually, because the greeter did make very, very good money. We did set bonus goals for the entire car wash. So I didn't want there to be a lot of animosity about, the greeter, the salespeople making all the money. So we actually tied in performance bonuses, that the salesperson was really responsible for, but that everybody participated in. I thought that was kind of an important feature, just so that people didn't feel like they were, being left out of the process.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Some questions about advertising from Bruce and from Dan. There's a couple similar kind of questions. And Mike, I'm going to kick these questions over to you since it's something that we talk about a lot, ways to get traffic to a site. Any thoughts on billboard advertising or radio advertising for the car wash?
Billboards, at least where I was from, because my wash was in Connecticut. Billboards were really expensive. The billboards in my area were $5,000 a month, and I just didn't really have the money to do that. So billboards were kind of out. I did do local radio, and a lot of people say, well, nobody listens to the radio anymore. And I disagree. We had a news radio station. It's called News Radio 88 AM, not even FM. And, we got a tremendous amount of traffic from advertising on, that radio station. And radio is, I think it's really overlooked. I don't think a lot of operators are doing it because they think everything has to be digital now. But I think you're missing, huge opportunity by not doing radio.
Great. Yeah, I second that about radio. I think it's a great opportunity, and a lot of radio stations actually couple radio ads with placing those same ads in their podcast streams. I know I, for one, listen to sports radio here in Philadelphia daily, but if I can't catch my favorite show at a particular time, I always go back and listen to the podcast version. You actually hear a lot of the same advertisers on the radio station also in their podcast apps and ads. So you get to double up a little bit there. So great feedback, Mike.
Yeah, and there's just one more thing, Max. I will say, our goal was we had an expression, be everywhere, right? So, even though I couldn't afford a billboard, I did direct mail through like a Valpak. I did radio. I did Facebook advertising. I even did, lawn signs, anything that I could do to get, the name of the brand out in front of people so that everywhere they turned, they saw the name of my car wash. So we just kind of referred to it as Be Everywhere.
Next question. This one's from Harry. Oh, and we're getting some feedback from somebody here. Oh, all right. I figured it out. Question from Harry. How can I promote car wash at a gas station? Mike, Sean, either of you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll start, and Mike, you can provide yours. What I see, it's difficult, right? Because you are going to 60% of your opportunities are going to be people buying a car wash at the pump. So I would say the best way to do it is if they buy at a pump, they drive around to your pay station and you have an offer for a free month, right? So they've already paid for a car wash, and then you give them the opportunity of a free month, or it's printed on the bottom of their check, their receipt, get a free month or something like that. Because buying at the pump is really going to take away from your opportunities. So as much as you can get rid of that and make the purchase happen, you're going to get a higher check average when they buy after seeing a fuller menu and not a transactional experience at the pump. So really selling at the pump is challenging. Utilizing the store, putting rack cards in every single bag, having anytime someone asks about car wash, having your cashier mention it to everyone, right? These are all opportunities to get a rack card, a promo code, and some instructions in front of people.
Great.
Mike, did you have thoughts on that?
One of the huge advantages of an app-based membership program is that people can sign up online. They can sign up all by themselves. I mean, when my membership, people had to actually come to the car wash to sign up. So I was out actually talking with an operator last week with this exact question. Like he says, I have a high volume gas station and C-store, and my wash is, around the back. What can I do to get memberships? I was like, you know what? Let's test putting, a pump topper sign with a QR code and an offer on the pump. Now, I don't know about you, but I have these big gas stations out here in Montana, and the operators of the gas stations actually slow their pumps down on purpose. So you sit there and you turn the pump on and it's slow. So what do? You go into the C-store and you buy coffee, you buy something, and that's something that I think is done intentionally so that the people just don't fill up and drive away. But while you're pumping, people are looking around, they're reading the signs on the pump and everything. They'll go ahead and they'll scan that QR code if you have a good offer. So once you have them as a member, then that's really the goal, right? Then they'll start using your wash when they come and fill up with gas. So I think it's a good opportunity. And like Sean said, a lot of them are going into the C-store. So make sure you have tons of signage in that C-store, whereby they know that there's a place where they can wash their car as well.
I know we are going a little over time, so I just want to knock out a couple more questions, then wrap things up with our Yeti giveaway. Here's one from Ricky. Sean, I think this is good for you. What are top traits to look for when hiring? What are some good places or industries to hire from? I know you kind of mentioned your hire cards and restaurants and checkout lines. What are some good recommendations for Ricky?
So I think, one, if I'm looking to hire a salesperson, I'm looking at personality, confidence, charisma, those sorts of things, right? You don't want somebody who can't hold the conversation. I want to have an interview with this person or a conversation at the bar, a bartender who's looking for some extra income or something. I want confidence, a little bit of swagger, someone, male, female, whatever it is, somebody who can just, I'd even say in an interview, hey, sell me something, right? What do you sell now? Or what have you sold in the past? Sell me that. And if they don't know how to sell, say, hey, pretend, what do you like? I like sports cards. Great. Sell me a sports card, right? And have them articulate those things. Because if they've got an outgoing personality, if you think they're kind of cool, You enjoy talking to them. They can hold the conversation on their own. They're not bashful. They're not shy. We can teach them a pitch, right? Pitch is great. Remember, pitch starts with service and just throws in, hey, did you know you can save money, right? And then places, you know, anybody who can sell mobile successfully, it's like being successful selling door to door. They can sell anything, right? Bartenders, servers, you know, anybody who's sold anything in their past. And again, don't discount people who've worked in jobs that aren't sales, but sign people up for a membership program like the store membership, or even whether it's free or not. Like, we've had great success with people who, you know, were led their, you know, their FYE store and signing people up for $5 memberships. So great question. Hopefully that answers it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, I know we are running out of time, so want to just throw the thank you up there, and the contact information for our team is here. As far as the Yeti goes, we have drawn a random name from the hat, and the winner is Christy Ewing. So Christy, we will be in touch with you. If you're here, if you wanted to say hi, give us a little shout out. Otherwise, we will reach out to you via email and find out your information so we get you your cooler.
Well, thank you, Max. I am here and I appreciate that. And great meeting, and I look forward to many more.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining, everybody. Really appreciate it. Yeah, looking forward to more of these conversations in the near future. Keep your eyes peeled for emails from EverWash for more programs like this, as well as our post-show or post-webinar survey. And have a great rest of your day. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.